Hello. It's a hot one out there today. I did try filming outside, but believe it or not, it's a bit of a wind, so I'm going to melt in here, I think, today. But a lot of you have asked me how you can arrange flowers in a bowl, just a simple vase, so that's what I'm going to explain to you today. First of all, as of before, I've got some nice flowers here. We're using Alstroemeria, some sunflowers, and then some spray chrysanthemums and some foliage. So what I've done first to prepare is taken the bottom leaves off quite the way up, because you don't want that foliage going into the water, because it will actually make it stagnant quite quickly. And as ever, I keep everything nice and neat in a trusty little bucket, which can then maybe go onto a compost heap or something like that. So once I've used that, I will move that out of the way. So what I'm going to teach you is the principles of a hand tied. A hand tied is, in floristry terms, another way of using making a bouquet, but by spiraling the stems. So that way the flowers tend to sit a bit nicer. Right, so with my sunflowers, I think these are going to be all droopy like me by the end of this session, but we'll get there, we'll see how we go. Okay, and then the Alstroemeria, and you can see, if I can explain, I'm going to start spiraling them round by adding them all the same way. Okay, and then we'll bring in some foliage, some nice eucalyptus, and it smells delicious, and a bit of a laurel. Now it's the World Cup's on today, so I'm doing this before I'm off to a nice barbecue to watch the World Cup. See if my team wins. Okay, and you can see that they're spiraling. There's even still a few little stems I can just take off there. Some more foliage. So this foliage was from the garden, and you can see it's quite new growth. So the tops of it are a bit droopy already. So it's better, if you're using foliage from the garden, to use more hardy foliage, which is maybe October time is a good time. So you can see I'm placing the flowers in a nicely arranged, so they're not all grouped together, all of one type, and I'm constantly looking. Okay, another laurel leaf there, I can just tug off. There we go, he's gone. Have a bit of swig of my drink. I think I'll have go for another sunflower here. I do love a lovely sunflower, especially in this weather. I'm having a bit of a heat wave at the moment, but I love it. Flowers don't love it, but I love it. Okay, so that's looking nice, if I don't mind saying so myself. Okay, and then we'll have a bit of white down here. So you can, the beauty of this, by using it in your hand, you can always twist it round, so you can be looking at it from all angles. Gets a bit tricky when you've got to make a big bouquet, especially me, because I've only got little diddy hands. So bigger hands are good for this. Right, so I'm quite happy with that here. And what I'm going to do now is just tie it off. I've got some baler twine. So I'll cut myself off a bit and lie it flat on the table. I don't know if you'll see this. Can you see me lying it flat on the table? I'll just cut it off. Okay, so that is a nice hand-tied display. Bringing over my bowl. So I've got a goldfish bowl to use today. And you can see that these flowers are going to need to be cut down. So on an angle, bring my bucket back. I'm just going to cut them. The golden rule for a hand tied is about 1.5 hands normally, and that's what would then be wrapped up. But because we're going into the bowl, it will be, say, about 1 hand, so it's a bit shorter. I've got some good secateurs to just cut. Just give you some good muscles, especially the thicker, more woody stems. There's some stuff, there we go. And you can just keep popping it into the Now, because that's too tall, you can see how that's all dropping to one side. So I will cut it down more. Seems a shame to be cutting down such beautiful stems, but it will be worth it in the end. So I'm going to take another, say, 2 inches off this. People that watch my YouTube channel, please give me suggestions if there's anything else you would like me to go through as you have done with this. So I hope this has been useful. Okay, so that sits a lot nicer now. But you know what I'm like, I like to do things a little bit different. It's actually Wimbledon next week, so I've got some tennis balls. So these were just brought from a little cheap shop. I'm just going to add those into the vase, so it's got a bit of a tennis Wimbledon theme. And I'll put those round the edges, so I've got the middle where my flowers can sit. It might not work, this, because I haven't tried it out before, so we will see. Yeah, I think those, so this means they're going to have to be cut down even more. Oh no, not the stems! So I'm going to cut them down a bit more again. Another, say, 2 inches, I'm afraid. But if you didn't want the tennis balls, I mean, you might be having just people around in a nice display, not necessarily tennis balls. You would have kept it as it was and then just put water in it. But as this is for an occasion, see that, so call it third time lucky. Yeah. Okay, so from this side you can see how it's sitting nicely. Quite pleased with that. And I've also got some sisal just to hide my mechanics at the top. I can just put that around. Sisal is actually coconut. So it's us florists have been using it for quite a while now. Okay, and then the moment of truth. We're now going to add water into the display because these flowers are desperate for water. Here we go. Now, are the tennis balls going to float? Which would be interesting. The moment of truth. So this, I've mixed this water as well with a bit of flower food. And I can see some of the tennis balls are floating. But I think I'm quite pleased with my idea. There. You know what? I quite like that. Put a bit more in. So, I'm going to finish it off by playing around with it slightly. And there you have a Wimbledon inspired tennis ball fishbowl using sunflowers, alstroemeria, eucalyptus laurel and some spray chrysanthemums. So I hope you've enjoyed your lesson. I'd love to see what you create from this. And also, like I say, anything else you'd like to learn, please drop me a little message at the back and I'll try and do another tutorial to that. Thanks very much for cheering in. Cheers!